This is just a quick video, really, just to let you know that I'm still making videos. We've had a lot going on. I did write a bit of an intro down here, so I'll read it as I'm going, I suppose. It has been a while since I last did a video. The beginning of August up here in Tom Price we had the Nameless Festival, which was quite good, nice. The locals said it wasn't as good as it normally is, but I thought it was alright for a small town, for a little fair. I wore a costume for one of the parades, I don't even know, they do like competitions and stuff, so it's part of that. A dress that someone else made called Megan Dixon, so I wore her dress. It was a Rio Tinto costume. I'm not very good at adding in things, but I'll try and add in a little clip of it. I don't know if I can. I'll try and figure that out and see if I can do that. Jane was going to do that with me, but she ended up being really sick. She was going to wear a bottle top dress for the recycling competition, but she ended up with an ear infection. Then she ended up in hospital because she had a really bad reaction to the antibiotics. Just kind of normal for my family, I think. Whilst she was in the hospital, I had to go over to the hospital at Karratha, which is quite a bit of a drive. You can see it on the other video. You can see it's a bit of a drive. I had a biopsy done on my thyroid, and the results back from that were not fantastic, so I've got to go get thyroid surgery. That's all organised and sorted out. I'm just waiting for a date, but it sent me into a spiral of panic and anxiety, and got myself quite worked up over it. Then for about 5 weeks I was going backwards and forwards to the doctors because with all the stress and the panic, I was clenching my teeth a lot, so particularly in my sleep, and I wasn't getting a lot of sleep because I was in a lot of pain, because it was just a vicious circle that just spiraled out of control. And eventually, after about 5 weeks of that, the doctor said, "I'll send you over to Karratha and get a scan." Jane actually drove me over to Karratha. I think she was very, very brave doing that. She's 17, nearly 18, but 17, and it is a four-wheel drive track. And she doesn't normally drive my car. She normally just has a little Astra, so she ain't got a big car. So for her to drive my Nissan Patrol and then go on a four-wheel drive track when she's never really done any off-road driving before either, I thought that was very brave of her to do that for me. We got to Karratha, and I was in so much pain that she just took me straight to, instead of waiting to get the CT scan done, she just took me straight to the emergency department, and yeah, they admitted me. I can't even remember her taking me to the emergency. I can't remember being in Karratha Hospital. I was there for 4 days, I think, 4 or 5 days. Can't really remember anything. I know at one point they gave me some Lyrica, I think that's what you call it, Lyrica, but I had hallucinations, so I ended up not having that again. and they were dosing me upon painkillers. I have little flashbacks, odd little bits that I remember. I remember my friend Kim bringing me in cups of tea, and I remember Jane bringing me in lattes from McDonald's. I can't really remember much else from that. I saw the doctor yesterday and he read the report, and apparently I was crying a lot. I was very distressed. And then Jane said, yeah, I was just in a complete mess. I was crying because I was in pain. I was crying because I didn't want to go to Perth. I was crying because I was just crying. Thankfully I was drugged up, so I don't know. Then they didn't really know what was wrong with me. I mean, they admitted, yes, you've got this, you've been clenching your jaw, but there's something else going on as well. And they then decided that they would fly me to Royal Perth. So I got flown down on the Royal Flying Doctors. I can sort of tick that off my bucket list. Not that it's something you want on your bucket list, but I'm one of the few people that's been on a Royal Flying Doctors airplane. They did a wonderful job of looking after me. I was suffering hugely with anxiety over the fact of going to Perth. I'm just turning my page on my little notebook. I was just petrified, really, of going to Perth. Anxiety is a new thing for me like that. But I do remember on the flight, they drugged me up to go on the flight, so I wasn't like hysterical on the flight. But I do remember the doctor on the flight coming and just every now and again just sort of touching my chest here and sort of saying, are you okay? And I had my eyes closed for most of the flight, but I just sort of nodded my head. I was laid on an ambulance gurney in the aeroplane. There was 3 of us. It's only a small plane. There's only 3 of us can fit on, and 1 doctor. So when we got down to Perth, you land at Jandakot Airport. They put you in an ambulance and then they drive you to the hospital. When I arrived at the hospital, my brother was there. Just absolutely needed. I'm feeling teary now. Needed somebody there for me, and he was. Then I spent another 4 or 5 days in Royal Perth whilst they really didn't know what was wrong with me either. And at the end of it all, they just think that I've been bitten by something, like an insect or a spider or a mosquito, and just sort of pumped me full of antibiotics, really. And the blood tests, they did blood tests every day just to sort of monitor me, really, but my salt levels were extremely low, which is dangerous. My inflammation markers were extremely high, which would be normal, I suppose, with an infection. I don't know, not a doctor. But strangely, my white blood cells went extremely low as well, and they were surprised with that because when you've got an infection, they go high. So they were concerned over that. As I say, I've been back to I've been home for about a week, I think, and I went back to work yesterday, but I just did 2 hours, and I've done 2 hours today. And I saw the doctor yesterday, and I'm still really exhausted. Still got a lot of pain around my face. Got like electric shock feelings going across here. And the doctor was like, well, did they test you for this? Did they test you for that? And I'm like, well, I don't think so, no. So he's testing me for, like, I went for a blood test this morning. There was 12 things on the list that he asked to be tested for. So, I mean, a couple of them were standard things like a full blood count and inflammatory markers. And then some of them were autoimmune disease related. Some of them were like Ross River virus and those kind of things. So he's doing a thorough check to see if he can figure out what was wrong with me. So when I get the results back, that'll be interesting. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I mean, I'm here, I'm in Tom Price, just a bit of a change of subject. It's an odd funny kind of day today. It's because normally at this time of the year it's hot, but it's very cool today. And when I say cool, I mean like it's still probably about 25 degrees. It's not like freezing. But bearing in mind, normally it's in the 40 degrees at the moment here. And it's very windy. It's very windy today. It's weird. I mean, I've got the windows open because it's nice to have the fresh air in, but I don't know if you can hear like the wind, but so once I know what's happening with the blood tests and stuff, that'll make me feel a bit happier. Once the thyroid's sorted out, that'll probably help. I don't know. Anyway, I'll wrap this video up and I'll do another little intro, because my next video that I did that was going to post before all this happened was 2 trains that I saw when I was driving over to Karratha. So I don't know why, but the trains quite make me happy, the trains. Anyway, I'll wrap this up and I will speak to you again soon. I did forget to add in with that last video when I was talking about all the stuff that had been going on. I forgot to add in that Colin had to drive down, well, he didn't have to, but he did drive down from Tom Price to Perth, which is an 18-hour journey in a car, and that must have been absolutely agonising for him, because he didn't know what was wrong with me, he didn't know why they were taking me to Perth. I mean, I think under those circumstances you're probably thinking that it must be bad if they're sending her down to Perth, but it was bad, but it could have been worse. So I mean, I wasn't at death's door or anything, but they just didn't know what was wrong with me. So just he must have been very emotional driving down there for him on his own. Anyway, just wanted to add that in, so there we go.